And now we have another match, once again on Tolvarin. This is going to be a really rough match for Victoria's Secret. They're going to be really pressured to even win this.
Yeah, I mean, they are down 2-1 right now. This is the grand final, so we are going to have it be a best of 7. That is a switch in format from the original best of 5. So they do have a little bit of room to try to figure out what works for them here. I definitely think they're set on going for a kill on CMG. So we're going to have to see if the God Comp can keep that execution up. Really, if any bit of that chain faltered, it was going to be a kill onto CMG, I really believe, in the pretty near future. Avenging Wrath was coming up in the very near future, and Shifty also would have been in big trouble with no Barkskin. So we're going to have to see if this team of Victoria's Secret can turn something around here, or if it's going to be 3 straight for Tymilia's God Comp.
Yeah, and once again, it's the same thing with this map being so much larger. They have to almost, at least in my opinion, they should almost just try going in and riding the mage. Even though it's a loss in the long run, they have to ride the mage, stop the CC. And Tymilia is starting up the match with cleaning off Evangeline, trying to make sure that he's not going to be able to do anything. Evangeline getting put in that poly, dispelled instantly with Shifty, and that Hodge getting it almost instantly right there, dispelled. Choosing the Iron Bark CMG and getting that wasted at this point, that's kind of a dangerous move with him not having anything left. But CMG and Tymilia just putting out the CC on Lewis and Evangeline, making sure they have that 3v1. SSDS using a deter early right there. Not really sure that was a good idea, because now he only has one. He's done it. Just going to die without being able to use another one, actually. Gets an Ice Nova on his trinket, and that's going to be the game. Wow. I kind of wonder, what happened there. That was a little bit...
I think that may have been a bit of miscommunication by Team Victoria's Secret. I mean, so much damage there. I did like the early deter, but I think maybe SSDS was expecting a use of something by the team of by its healer there. I think he was hoping Lewis would have popped a trinket or something like that. Lewis kept in CC and really just no heals coming in. 70% went down from that. Big miscommunication, I'm guessing. That is going to be a 3-1 lead. So what can this God Comp do to finish it off, or rather what can Victoria's Secret do to turn the series around? They are down. It is match point for them, so they need to make something happen this next game. Let's see what the luck of the draw gives them for map choice here.
Yeah, and once again, I just wanted to reiterate, due to the add-on and what kind of limitations we have with it right now, we're just doing the grand for the first match and randoming the rest. With any luck, in future weeks, we'll be able to get this down to the point where we are able to choose the map every time. But in interest of expediting how quickly we get this done and to make sure that the queues actually do happen, we're just going through and randoming it after that first match in the grand.
Yeah, with the improvements that Vadrak is making right now, and Blizzard working hard on it, future games will be losers pick for the map. So it is unfortunate, but we're working with what we have now, and what we do have now is Tiger's Peak. I think this is a better map for Team Victoria's Secret. I think maybe they're going to have a better chance of killing CMG here. Not quite as much space to pull away. Perhaps those small platforms will work well for this PHS. Not as much room to maneuver for avoiding CC, but at the same time, perhaps they can finally get some things on Shifty, cross CC, and big burst onto CMG. Going to be following Evangeline out right now to see if he can do something in this opener that turns it around, and SSDS is going to have to be really, really careful.
It's kind of the story of this last few matches where CMG and Tymilia are just playing completely aggressively. They don't hang back at all. They're just going in, getting ready, and the second they get that first bit of CC, they're just going to go in and do it. I mean, this is what they're going to be doing for the rest of this match, and Lewis dropping the Earthbind, trying to make sure that he can kite around and not get CC, and Shifty getting put into the full Hodge. He has to get this trap off after that without the Master Spell onto CMG, but doesn't get anything off of that. And Evangeline chooses to sack Lewis there on that Fear, and Evangeline just sitting pretty right now with the full sheep on him. SSDS is going to be the one that's going to be in trouble here, with SSDS actually just strength shotting off Tymilia, trying to get that Icy Veins, doesn't get it, and now they have to stop this deep poly, and instead of the poly, they do stop the poly, have a silence now. Looks like this is going to be dangerous for SSDS, where now Lewis is in the full clone. This could actually be a trinket or even a deter out of him.
Yeah, really nice job there by Godcom putting out really good CC. Evangeline and did stop the polymorph there, but still, huge pressure came out. SSDS dropped pretty low. They've stabilized now. Tymilia putting out the polymorphs. Hex coming out from Lewis, but I think that is going to be shifted by Shifty. Very appropriate for his name. That is the Deep Freeze onto Lewis. Disarm onto SSDS. Evangeline in the Cyclone. Sheep onto Lewis. SSDS in huge trouble here. He may just go down. He's going to have to pop that deter, but Lewis still in the DR'd Sheep. Is he going to be able to heal him up? There is the Spirit Link. Almost every cooldown out of Victoria's Secret right now. CMG has not had to pop the Disperse. He has his DPS trinket up. Tymilia blazing, speeding in there, trying to get polys out. He does get it onto Evangeline for now. Lewis in the silence, and I think this game is definitely in the favor of Ariana Grande. Victoria's Secret there, trying to turn it around, but Shifty did just get locked out. Full fear onto Evangeline. Lewis goes into the Sheep. Evangeline's just going to bubble that. He's not going to let this turn around. He's not going to let the momentum build up and defeat him right there. So Evangeline with the somewhat offensive bubble. SSDS still taking big damage. Full Hodge onto Shifty, and it looks like the map has stabilized for a second, but probably only a second.
Yeah, we do see there with Tamilia sitting in that Hex for quite a few seconds, stopping quite a bit of the damage, and they covered that with the Hodge on the Shifty. Really good play from them, and CMG not able to get off that MD to stop off the Hodge. Eventually getting put into the clone, Lewis getting put in the deep. This is going to be a poly without a doubt. SSD into the coil, into the bash. Lewis getting the Dispel off, trying to top him off, and they clone up SSDS there. A good move, but a little bit late. They really just needed that last bit of CC to stop the gap in between there. And Lewis getting put in the silence. This is where they're going to have to put in more damage. They're going to put in more CC into Lewis, trying to stop this again. And Shifty getting put into the Hodge, kind of hitting him a little bit, but not really committing yet. He chooses to Ironbark himself. At this point, they could just swap over to the CMG and pretty much give him. And I mean, this is Evangeline's Avenging Wrath. They have to do something with this. With Lewis just having a wasted poly DR on him, SSDS and Lewis both getting put into the Horrifies there from the dot. And using the trap on CMG with Shifty, unable to dispel it for a few seconds, really stopping the pressure. And this is what we were seeing from the EU PHS, where they were turning down Druids. This is maybe the best option for Lewis and SSDS and Evangeline. With another full Hodge on the Shifty, Tymilia popping the Icy Veins, getting off that full poly before Lewis can even do anything. Once again, those Icy Veins with haste right now, it's so crazy. SSDS is taking an insane amount of damage right now. Lewis not being let out of that CC chain anytime soon, forcing that deterrence right out of SSDS with Tamilia's Icy Veins starting to fall off in a second. One more clone onto Lewis into a full silence. This could just be the game right here.
Well, so much damage coming in SSDS. I don't think he's going to be able to live the 25%. He does get bopped, I believe. Tymilia steals that bop instantly. Lewis goes into the deep freeze. But Ariana Grande did DR a lot of CC there. Full Hodge onto Shifty. It looks like they're going to try to put pressure on him. They don't have wings up for a bit. Full Sheep onto Evangeline. So I don't know if they can manage enough pressure on Shifty, but I think that may be their best bet. Shifty kind of sitting around 65 to 75% consistently right now. He's putting out the Cyclones. When can they get the next chain on Lewis? That's the question. They're going to need cross CC. Lewis just gets sacked out of the first poly. Is Tymilia going to get more? There's the deep freeze. Is a clone going to come out or another poly? That is a frost jaw. SSDS still sitting pretty high. Evangeline CC'd with Cyclone. SSDS maintaining himself well right now. Half Sheep onto Lewis. SSDS at half health. Quarter Sheep. No more CC from Tymilia. There is the DR'd silence. And it looks like SSDS is going to live for now. He's going to put out the wire and onto Tymilia. Slow some of this pressure. Hopefully Lewis can pick SSDS back up here. And he does drop. He's stabilizing at about 45%, but he can't get picked up to 100 right now. Really scary for him. He needs some kind of big heals. There is the deep freeze, blazing speed, and that is the full poly. I don't know what they can do right here. Avenging Wrath from Evangeline, and it looks like SSDS in huge trouble. He does top back up to about 50%. Lewis goes into the full clone, though, so he is still in big trouble. 30%. There's the bash. I think he's going to go down. Nope, nice bop by Evangeline, and there's the Spirit Link.
No, and just to know, Evangeline actually using his Avenging Wrath there to keep SSD alive. Great play from him. Basically using that as a trade-off for all the damage cooldowns that Shifty's team was using. And now we have Lewis getting put in another one, getting it sacked instantly. I mean, the sacks from Evangeline are in the same animation, practically. Shifty being put into that Hodge. Need to get a trap out of that, but no trap. Nothing really happening right now. SSDS just getting knocked down to 120k, 150k. Evangeline basically healing this game for Lewis right now with that deterrence coming out. and Lewis just unable to leave CC, pretty much getting off one NS in the last like I don't even know, man. This is just crazy with the amount of CC that Lewis is sitting in. It's just going to drop down on SSDS, and I mean, right now Lewis didn't even get to play the game at this point. That's pretty much what happened. I mean, nothing was able to be done by them. Eventually doing, I mean, look at the amount of healing that he did, 1.96 million. I mean, he did almost as much healing as his actual healer. That's the story with what's going on is Lewis can't even leave CC, and it's just crazy to me. They can't even do anything.
Well, a really admirable effort there by the PHS. I do think they were facing a very difficult counter comp in that God comp of Thymelia, CMG, and Shifty, but such excellent work on the CC chains by the God comp, just constantly putting both Lewis and Evangeline way behind, lining up that damage. Huge pressure came out, and that is 4-1 best of 7 series, and that does go to the team of Ariana Grande. So our grand champions are CMG, Thymelia, and Shifty ZY. Congratulations to them. They are going to be receiving a $210 prize, and they are the grand champs. What do you guys think of that?
What a doubt, man. That was one hell of a match. I mean, I was kind of excited to see that PHS take a win off them, but I mean, the way they finished up those last few matches, I mean, that was what we wanted to see from them. They pretty much held up those 3v1 CC chains the entire way through and took home the game.